per year for a family of up to 5 individuals. This is pretty nifty stuff. Affordable inpatient only cover with limits of 250,000, 350,000 or 500,000 shillings. Now, there's also an inbuilt maternity and last expense benefit. There's minimal waiting period and no health checkups required. You get your card, you get your premiums done, and you get in and you start. So, we need you to send health to 40643. That's health to 40643, or call 0709 949 000, or log on to www.jubileeinsurance.com. All that information, one place. Go to the website, send a message, or give a call, and don't wait for that medical emergency to come. You can be prepared for it. All right. Our friends from Diamond Trust Bank are here this morning, and Eva Awino is the head of mortgages DTB. Eva, let me just tell you, we've been waiting for you.
Glad to be here.
Karibu Sana.
Thank you.
You're in the hot seat of the Situation Room, and I know that you have, you're bringing them hot for us this morning for us to be able to understand how this is all working. But let's give you a little bit of work to do this morning.
All right.
It's fun stuff, I promise. CT goes around the continent every week. Right?
I see. Okay.
It's a mystery of how he does it. But you who are in this magic wand business of giving us these great mortgages, you also understand. So
Absolutely.
You're in good company.
All right. Fantastic.
From a new country is a new proverb every week. He'll tell us what that proverb is, and then you will interpret it for us.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I told you a little bit
Take
about
it away.
Fun time.
Our proverbs for the whole of this week come from the country of Niger. Okay? It's a republic. Huge country. In terms of landmass, largest on the continent. The unfortunate thing, or the spectacular thing about it, is that 80% of that land is desert. You hear the Sahara Desert? Yeah, 80% of the landmass of Niger is part of the Sahara Desert. Right. We had a coup recently. Didn't go down well with other African leaders. But, here we are. Now the proverb. Only God can chase away flies from a tailless cow.
Should. Say that again.
Only God can chase away flies from a tailless cow.
City, come on. I mean, well, that's a new one. Never been had before.
Okay, surely.
Surely.
You've come across cows.
I've come across cows. I know about God.
Yes, you've come across the tails
But the
of
combination and flies. I know about flies.
Exactly.
You're getting somewhere.
So yes, that's why I'm saying yes. So you do know what this thing could mean. What we want is your opinion, really.
There's no right or wrong answer, really.
There's no wrong. Okay. Let's see. Say that again, City.
I will say it again. Only God can chase away flies from a tailless cow.
Oh, okay. Maybe I have an idea. Can I translate in my own way?
Please, absolutely.
That's what we want, actually.
I think it says, I think the meaning of that is, from where I sit, only DTB can get you into that home.
Smart.
That's why you're the head of mortgages.
Smart.
Yeah, I mean, that's my translation.
I didn't see
Any
that coming,
interpretation.
but yes.
That's why you are. That's why you are.
Okay.
Well done. And that's why you're here this morning. 1,000 points to you. Do with them as you wish.
I love it.
Okay. So, for a couple of days, we've been talking about, mortgages by DTB.
Right.
And then allowing us to look into the broader picture of, what Kenyans can do to be able to own a space that you call home, your little slice of heaven that's yours.
Right.
And so just give us an overview. Why go into this particular area and say, okay, let's provide solutions for Kenyans in terms of what can actually happen for you to own your own? Let's start with the why before we go to the what.
All right. So certainly everybody wishes to have a home to call their own, right? The difference is the biggest challenge has been affordability, right? In terms of the kind of property that is out there for people to be able to buy, and two, the finances really to be able to buy that kind of property. So the reason why we have offered these solutions to people is so that everybody can be able to have a home to call their own, right? And so this solution is open for everybody within all ranges of income. And I use specifically the word income because it could be from salary, it could be from business, it could be from, income from out there, like Kenyan working in the diaspora. So I specifically use income because it could be from any of those sources. Right.
Okay. And so then we get to the what. So then what have you been able to say, okay, we understand that there's a problem here. Let's now be the ones to give you a very good solution to it.
Okay. So to address issues around affordability, one, we say, it's difficult to save money now. There's a lot of things happening. There's a lot of things on the Kenyan plate, And so we're saying, if you haven't saved any money, it's all right. Come as you are. Don't look for it anyway. Don't even borrow it from anywhere. Just come as you are. And we're able to offer up to 105% financing. And this would essentially take care of the cost of the house fully. And then we all know there's other costs associated with owning a home. And so that would cover for the property, purchase of the property, and the cost associated. All right? Then further on, we're saying, okay, the interest rates have been over the roof for a while. We are beginning to see that coming down, but not as low as we are able to give. So we are able to give up to 9% fixed. Remember the word fixed. Rates have fluctuated over a period of time. We've seen people borrow 13, then it went to 15, 17, up to 21, right? And so we're saying the 9 is fixed. It will never change for the period of the mortgage, right? So if you take 9, for 15 years, you will pay at 9%. Then further, we know that, you want to spread that repayment so that it's comfortable for you.
Yes.
And so we're saying we can give it up to you for 25 years, up to 25 years. But further, we are saying, look, if you come across some money somewhere, a windfall, you've done some deals here and there, legitimate.
Of course.
And you want to settle that off. We say, bring the money, pay off, and walk on, pick your keys, and, we will remove ourselves from the title, and the property is fully owned by you. So those are some of the solutions that we've been able, because having looked at what Kenyans have struggled with over a period of time in terms of trying to own a home, we figured that those are some of the key pain points that Kenyans have struggled with. And so coming up with that kind of tailor-made solution, I believe that will give Kenyans an opportunity to have a home to call their own.
Tell us a little bit about Diamond Trust Bank. How did it begin? And why the name Diamond Trust?
First, we all know about diamonds, right?
Oh, yeah. They are forever. No, that's James Bond.
Diamonds are forever.
Right?
Right.
Yeah.
So it is forever. And then you can trust diamonds. They are forever, And so we are forever here, and you can trust that we are forever here to walk with you the journey towards improving your life, really, basically. And it's not just about owning a home. Your dream could be owning a car. We are there. Your dream could be, school fees, for example. We are there. Your dream could be, I'm looking for some unsecured facility. I just want to quickly do something, travel, for example. We have that solution. So you can trust us to be able to offer any solution that you would be looking for out here. If you're looking for a card, I'm traveling quickly and I'll need to transact and I cannot access my savings at this point in time. I don't want to break my fixed deposit. You will have your credit card. So it is a one-stop shop.
Right.
And so you can trust that, the Diamond herein is able to give you all these solutions. Yeah.
I'm curious because you see, when it talks about decent housing, our own government has been talking about that from the onset. So they took over power, the bottom-up economic model.
Right.
And it's all about, we're building these houses for you, and they're affordable houses. And Kenyans are still saying, is it really affordable?
Yeah.
They're trying to cut their heads around it. Now, if I ask why I would come to you and not other banks or any other facility for that matter, or even the government's option, I know you've given us a glimpse of what it is that you offer, but if you give it in comparison as to why I should pick DTB and that you are unique for me to actually convince myself and my family to trust you.
Okay.
Yes.
So you've actually said it. There's been these stories about affordable property coming up. But people don't really know where these properties are, isn't it?
Yes.
If I asked you today, tell me a 3 million property, you'd have to crack your brain, right?
Or Google.
So what we do, other than just offering you this solution, we actually take you to the places where you'll find these houses. So what we've done over and above the solution, the financial solution that we are able to offer, we have partnered with developers and estate agents really, and we have vetted them. So we are not just saying go there and go here and pick this or no, we have vetted them, and we have then gone on to partner with them such that if you're looking for property and you don't know where to look, we can take you there as an individual. We also organize property tours where we take customers around, and you really want to see a couple before you make your decision. I mean, property is forever, just like diamond.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you want to be sure that you've seen and picked the best. So we take you around, we give you the options, and eventually help you make decisions. And besides that, we work with professionals. So we have valuers, we have lawyers. So we're not just saying, okay, here's the property we've identified, we trust this developer, go on, come and make your application. No. So we work with valuers who will then step in to check we'll do a search on the property to determine true ownership of that property. They will check if there's any encumbrances. We've seen situations where people have bought property and then before you know it, there's a bulldozer taking down your property.
Because it's on riparian land
Or you're
or
served with
something.
papers.
Absolutely. I mean, so we work with professionals to check such for such encumbrances, and if there's an issue, then they will tell you you need to back off this one. Let's check again. We have lawyers to help you, with the registration of the properties. They also do a second search just to be sure. And out of this, then there's a lot of information that comes out. Is this property charged to a bank? And it could be, and there's nothing wrong with me selling a property that is charged to a bank. But is the bank aware? Such that when we get to the point of discharging on the other side, that there will be no issue. So those are the things that they will look out for. So over and above just, giving you money, over and above just showing you their property, we have a panel of professionals who will then just do those checks for you, because you may look at a title and see that, okay, this belongs to Eva, but I mean, we are who we are as Kenyans.
So then when you're looking at the amounts that you give for mortgage, how do you determine that?
Okay.
Because, I mean, just having conversations, with you for the last couple of days, is that, so I don't have to have an account with DTB?
Not at the point of application, no.
Okay. Yeah. How then do you now say, okay, so I want this mansion in the sky, essentially. How do you say, well, we're going to give you a mortgage that fits you? How do you go through that whole process?
All right. So we will ask a bit of questions. So we'll ask questions around how much your income is and what is the source of it. So if it's salaried, for example, we will ask for your pay slips, we will ask for your bank statements, and we'll be able to do some workings around that. Normally, if you're salaried, we'll take about 65% of your gross income to determine what you can commit towards payment of a home loan, right? If your income is from business, we'll again do turnovers and pick some amount, some percentage out of it to determine how much you can qualify for. And the same applies for Kenyans in the diaspora. So if you're in business, the same follows. If you're employed, the same structure follows. So we'll basically ask for your documentation, because if, for example, you're not banking with DTB, we are able to then ask for those documentation and determine based on whatever we see. If you're banked with DTB, then we are able to pick that information from our system and do the workings together and show you how much you then are eligible for.
So this 105%,
right,
it's a very interesting figure, right? Because somebody's going to ask, okay, so 100% is great,
right? But
then you get to 105%. Why on earth would you do that?
Yeah, okay. So the 100 would essentially cover for the cost of the house, right? A lot of the players are doing up to 90% financing, and so you have to do a down payment and then additionally look for the costs, closing costs. So the 100 will cover for the price of the house. The 5 will cover for the costs of the closing costs. So herein we are talking about stamp duty. We are also talking about valuation fee. We're also talking about legal fee, because remember, there's lawyers involved and there's valuers involved. There's insurance that comes into play, so that if in the event that, God forbid, you lose your source of income through retrenchment, then insurance would come in to pay for a period of 9 months. God forbid you have permanent disability out of an accident or illness, again, insurance will come in to pay the outstanding mortgage in full. And if you pass on, God forbid, again, touch wood, insurance will pay for the full mortgage. And so your family will not be bothered, your family will not be disturbed. The bank will discharge the title to whomever you listed as your next of kin.
Okay. So essentially you're saying that you could get into a mortgage agreement and you wouldn't have to spend a penny from your pocket.
Absolutely.
Until you now start paying, every month.
Installments once we disburse to the seller of the property.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. I'm just going to ask this for the first time, home buyers who are anxious but excited. It's a lot of emotions when you want to begin.
Indeed.
And there's that fear of all the, God forbid, things that might happen.
Yes.
You don't want to leave your family in a certain state, or you don't want to regret growing up
yes, absolutely.
with it. and someone would ask, so what is the kind of support that you give to first-time buyers?
Right.
What kind of understanding does DTB have that will make it essentially comfortable to take this great but very important life, step?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so like I said, one of the things that I said earlier is that we, first of all, walk with you the journey towards identifying a home.
Yes.
If you haven't yet identified, that also comes with anxiety. I mean, you don't know if this seller is legit. You don't know if this property is legit. You don't know if it's been done up to standards. You don't know if it's approved in the first place. So we help with that as a first-time homeowner. The other thing is we walk you through the journey. We paint the picture. If you have seen the DTB application form, at the back of it shows you the journey, each step. So we actually take you through each of those steps, what it will mean and how much time it will take. For example, we will tell you, once you submit all your application, within 72 hours, you will have feedback as to whether you've been approved or not, or whether you need to improve your information or documentation. And then we'll tell you thereafter, we will carry out evaluation, and this will take X number of days. So we actually sort of like paint a picture of what that will look like. Because normally when you have applied for even the smallest facility, you're very anxious.
Yes.
You're not sure whether you'll be approved, how long it will take, So we, at every step, tell you, now this is done, we're going to this step, and it will take this much time. So even as you get into it, you know how much time you expect this to take.
So there's no uncertainty, no gap.
There's no uncertainty. And then the other thing we actually do tell you is these stories that we keep hearing. That, one of the fears is that this will hold me down for 25 years. I mean, it sounds like a long time, right?
Yeah,
quite a long time. But yet we are living somewhere, right? And you're paying for the space that you're living in. And perhaps, God knows, I don't know how long I've paid for the space that I live in. I mean, I would have paid for the space that I live in, but you're paying nonetheless.
Yeah.
If it's rent, it's still going to hold you.
True.
Right? So 25 years with the option of early settlement is pretty decent, right? And so that we take away that, that kind of anxiety of 25 years, will I be alive? Will I still have a job? Will I be able to continue servicing this facility? So we just give you the options around that. The other thing that brings a lot of anxiety is, what if I lose my source of income?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, will you auction me?
Yeah.
And that's the first thing that comes to anybody's mind. What if, today, if I don't have a job, I'll be auctioned.
Yes.
My family will be thrown out, you know. And so one of the things that we've done is introduce the retrenchment option insurance that then covers you in case you lose your job through retrenchment. Then you're covered for at least a period of 9 months, for which then you can be able to reorganize yourself. And in that period, if you see that there's no light at the end of the tunnel, come back to us and say, hey, I know my insurance has paid for 4 months. I still don't see how this is going to end after the 9 months. Can we have a conversation? How can you support me? And one of the things we do is, we can say, okay, do you have some income on the side? How much is it? So assuming you're paying 40,000 and you have some income that can give you 15,000, then we can be able to restructure that facility so that it's within what you're comfortably able to raise every month.
Yeah.
Then you may say, okay, actually, Eva, I feel like this is giving me a lot of pressure. I'd rather offload it.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
And so we will say, okay, that's an option. How would you like us to do this? Do you want to look for a buyer? Do you need support from us in looking for a buyer? Because one of the things that, remember I said, is to help customers identify homes.
Yes.
So we will put it on our property listing that we normally share out to our staff and our customers, and it will be there. And so we'll, mention that property to our customers, and then we'll organize a private meeting once we get a potential customers, and you will, have your conversations.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what do you do, and is there a possibility? I'm seeing a couple of questions coming in here, even as we get to others.
Right.
Can you get a mortgage for construction? Say you have a piece of land, right? So I want to take a mortgage because that's what it is essentially, isn't it?
Absolutely,
right. To put up a house on a piece of land that I already own. Does ETB wave the magic wand for that as well?
At the moment, we don't. It is a solution that we is in the kitchen as we speak. So look out for it towards the end of the year because it needs a lot of professionalism around it. Some professionals around the construction, QSs, etc. So it's in the kitchen as we speak, but towards the end of the year, we will have the solution.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Let's take a break at that point. Eva Retemo is the head of mortgages with DTB this morning. We're looking at, the options that you have, and we'll come in and look at a lot more of that and what you're able to take advantage of. Do you like fruit, Eva?
I do love fruit.
You love fruit? Okay. Do you like taking a break every now and then from stuff?
Absolutely.
So when you were telling us some of these things, I thought to myself, this is really a great moment for us to think about some of these things and say, okay, these are things that you can actually do. And you know what? Delamere yogurt also gives you an opportunity to have an moment.
I love it.
So there is a wild berry variation of the Delamere yogurt. It's real fruit. The berries that you see there, inside the yogurt. And we'd like you to have some of that this morning and have an moment when you take a break from work, when you take a break in traffic, whatever you do, have an moment with Delamere, with us.
My lunch is set.
That you see.
Healthy.
This is why you are where you are, because you get it.
Here we are.
Thank you, City. Thank you.
You definitely get it. All right, we'll take a break on that and our conversations continue. Let me remind you also that you don't have to wait for that health emergency to take place before you do something about it. Jubilee Insurance says, you know what, there are a number of things that we can actually do to make sure that you're in step and that you're in stride with your health and things that you would have to take into consideration. So we're looking at the J plan under Jubilee Insurance, and that is J Care Johari. And this is for individuals and families looking for affordability and convenience. The premium, 25,000 shillings per year. Inpatient cover, 200K to 400K, check. Outpatient cover, 40K to 50K, also in there for you. Online group, no paperwork or medical checkups, and it can also cover pre-existing conditions, and you have access to free drug delivery. What do I need you to do? I need you today to send the word health to 40643 or call 0709 949 000 and visit www.jubileeinsurance.com.
Dental tips brought to you by Sensodyne. Visit your dentist regularly. Routine dental exams and cleanings are essential for good oral health. Many people do well with 6-month visits.
Sensodyne gives you long-lasting protections against sensitivity. And people come in and they're like, oh, it works. I can have ice cream and I'm not in any discomfort. I recommend Sensodyne because it works. It's brilliant.
This is Maisha Asubuhi, na kama ilivyo desturi inaitwa Solomon Zuli. Moja inakuaga moja.
Yeah.
Mbili inakuaga ni twins.
Yes.
Lakini tatu kwa Kiswahili tunahitaji. Tunasema ni tatu sure.
Sugar boys, sugar boys, the cute boy, and ladies and gentlemen, I'm failing the one.
Mpigo tena zaidi, finally bwana.
Finally.
Imefanya ndani ya stesheni nambari 1. Tuko mbele pamoja. Tatu shua zaidi. Nitemeni Mandrio kipenda niteji baba.
Karibu sana Nairobi, lakini mimi nitakupatia memo ya Nairobi. Watoto wazuri Nairobi. Lazima uwe makini.
Hapo archives hapo. Ulipoingia tu ya.
Hapo tutamuintroduce kwa kamba ndugu zangu.
Monday to Friday, each and every week. Itakuwa ni tatu shua kama unavyotuona hapa. Sugar boy, sugar weasel, main man Rio, Solomon Jeffazuli. Hii ni
tatu shua zaidi.
Uspime.
We're swinging open the doors to greatness from February 20th to 23rd, 2025. Get ready for the ultimate golf showdown at the legendary Muthaga Golf Club. Feel the thrill, the precision, the delight of the Kenya Open, where champions rise and history is made. Magical Kenya Open presented by ABSA. Are you ready? Let the game begin. Get your tickets at kenyaopen.hustlesasa.shop. We all know why we're all here. The mission is to attack. The wait is over. The real deal is here. Creatives, TikTokers, Wahesh, skillpreneurs, Masturi, Vaibu, Wachaiwake. Target 1, DJ Matt, the beat assassin. Target 2, Jitabi, the style enforcer. Target 3, DJ Magic E, the frequency bandit. Target 4, Linga Penda, the laughing menace. Iwake, starting this Saturday, 10 p.m.
DJ Magic E. Enjoy the music.
Have you identified Lala's accomplices?
Yes. Max, Alexa, and Riza's son. Who's there? Come out!
Who's that girl?
It's Mila. Don't you remember her?
The maid. From being a maid to... What's the new role you're playing?
Mila's my girlfriend. And I proposed to her last night, though I'm willing to wait for her response no matter how long it takes.
This family of yours is a bunch of lunatics!
What did you just say?
What's going on?
So how we do that is, present the 105 option to them. And I mean, that also gets them a bit relaxed. The other challenge that I've seen is people come and they don't meet the amounts that they would wish for, and they feel stuck. And so the solution that we give them and that people also don't know about is you can do a joint application with your partner. So if you're looking to buy a house of 10 million and your income can only allow you up to 8 million, for example, then we give you the solution of, doing a joint application with your spouse or your partner, if you wish. Another one that I have seen is, the anxiety that we've already talked about. How will this go? Will I have a solution? Will I be able to pay this to the end and stuff like that? Another is bad experiences that people have already had and they're not sure. They know that they want to own a home, but they're just not sure how this will go. And so we have a team of mortgage experts that will definitely walk with you the journey end to end until you get the key to your home. Then they will sort of like set you free, you know what I mean? But it's not really setting you free because then they continue the conversations, At some point, you have paid down your facility and you think, okay, I've seen a piece of land somewhere and I don't have money and I would wish to own that piece of land. So we'll give you the solution and say, you've paid down your mortgage to some level. Why not come and get an equity out of the room that you've already created?
Yeah.
You may feel that this mortgage has taken up all the space that I had on my payslip or on my income. But we'll tell you, you've created some room between what you borrowed and how much you paid down to. So we say, come, let's do an equity release for you and you can buy that piece of land. At your comfort.
It's like music to the ears, but then there's another concern, and I want to bring it up just now. There are concerns, and I like that you're trying as much as you can to ensure that every person that's listening is confident enough to actually approach DTB.
Right.
But there are concerns about hidden, and I don't know if you've heard of them.
I have.
Hidden or closing costs. Right. There's that fear of what is it that she's not telling us
she's
this
not
morning.
talking about.
You know?
Yeah.
Things like, I don't know if that applies in the mortgage here in Kenya, the stamp duty, the stamp duty, like government tax on property transactions, there's like a percentage, Apple.
There is.
So there's that fear. Could you please clarify?
Yeah.
So that people essentially have trust that they can trust
They have all the
Diamond.
information. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, people call it hidden costs.
Yes.
If you recall our earlier conversation, I said there's costs that come with owning a property. Remember?
Yes.
And I listed some of them, and I said there's valuation fee that will come therein. There's legal fees.
Yes.
There's stamp duty. There's the facility fee charged by the bank. There's what else? There's insurance. Therein. So those are actually the costs that are associated with owning a property.
Why would they call them hidden?
I guess in the past that information has not been put out there, right? So that you start the process and then you realize, oops, I need another close to $1 million to be able to continue this transaction. So people in the past, I mean, I think there's been bad experiences in the past where people have not been given this information upfront.
Okay.
And so what we do, and if you've seen our form, that information is out there. In the event that Eva chooses to not give that information, as you're doing your application, you will definitely see it. But at Diamond Trust, we make sure that you have all the information before you make the decision.
Yeah. So it's transparent.
It's transparent through and through.
No manipulation.
No manipulation at all.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What do we hope? I mean, so there is Diamond Trust Bank that's doing its bit in terms of making sure that folks who want to be able to own property can do so.
Right.
And own a home, not just property, but own a home can do so.
Absolutely.
And then there's a larger picture whereby we're told, okay, well, you know what? I think the number, I don't know if it's ever risen beyond the 25,000, or maybe now going towards 30,000, or whatever the case may be, of people who actually own their homes in Kenya.
Right.
Right? So how is this, playing into that bigger picture? Is it? Or is it just DTB just saying, okay, we're going to do what we can? But does it feed into that bigger picture of saying, across the country, more Kenyans should actually own their own homes if they can?
So there's a section of people who own property already, right? There's a larger section of people who don't own property. Of the larger group of people who don't own, the larger one is because of affordability. The other section is because of lack of information, right? So we play into all of those spaces, including those who already own property. You don't stop at one property. I mean, we have dreams of investing big time, So this is not just for first-time homeowners. We also have solutions for second-time, So if you have a property that you already own, you can get a second one if you wish to, and we are able to finance you for that. You may use the one that you already have to get a second one as an equity release. But also, if you have a facility with another institution and you feel like this is expensive and DTB is talking 9%, why not transfer that facility? So as long as that was disbursed in the last 3 years, then we're able to take it over at the rate of 9%, which is fixed. So we're also giving Kenyans an opportunity to pay their mortgage at an affordable interest rate.
Is this understanding you have with Kenya Mortgage Refinance Company? Tell us how this works.
So KMRC, as we know it, Kenya Mortgage Refinance Company, come in to fund DTB, for example. So they give funds at a very cheap cost, and so that is how we are able to lend at the rate of 9%. Normally, we understand how banks work. The money we hold is not the bank's money, per se. It's shareholders' money, right? So this is the money that we use to lend out, and it comes at a very high cost, right? So this KMRC funding is what has enabled us to be able to lend at this low interest rate that we're talking about.
Which means Kenya Mortgage Refinance Company actually have money which they can lend for long periods of time.
Absolutely.
At reasonable or low interest rates.
Right. That is accurate.
How about you break this down for a Gen Z?
What exactly?
Who is excited
about owning a property?
Yeah, because there's this, conversation that will happen among young people. That, renting is much cheaper right now,
right,
than owning a home.
Yeah,
and they're thinking there's a certain age where you could put your money there, or as little as this. But right now, they're like, nah. I'd rather rent. I mean, it's cheaper than a mortgage. There's that notion that mortgage is huge and expensive. What do you tell a younger person?
So I'll tell a younger person. First, we know Gen Zs are mostly self-employed now. They're influencers. They're content creators. We were able to finance them. So based on the income, as long as you can show proof of the income that you're earning, we're able to finance. But importantly, let me say this. How much do you think a 5 million home loan would you be paying for a 5 million home loan?
Annually?
Monthly.
Per monthly? What, 40,000 shillings?
Very close. 44.
Okay.
Oh, wow, dude.
Yeah. So Gen Zs love to live a good life, right or wrong? I mean, they love good spaces.
And this is 44 over what period of time?
Of 25 years. Remember, the option of early settlement still stands. So you may take the 25 and pay even in 3 years if you wish to. Yeah. So it's not out of reach. It's so if you get a 3 million house, the repayment would be 25,000. Aren't we paying rent of 25,000?
Indeed.
Oh, yes.
Sometimes aren't we paying rent of sometimes more?
Yeah.
Up to 40, 50, 60, I mean.
Yes.
So it's not out of reach. It's available.
It's what's being done now anyway.
It's what's being done now. And people sit and think, okay, we've had all that information, but it's out of reach for me. No, it's not out of reach. If you have your pay slip or your income with you, do 65% of that, remove any deductions, see how much is left, and that is how much you can commit towards paying for a home loan. Now, if you're paying rent, put that back onto your income.
Yeah.
Put that back onto your income. So if you're taking a 5 million and you're paying 44,000 and you are paying 40 for your rent, what would you rather do?
No brainer there. Okay. So walk us through the process of somebody who does not have a DTB account.
Okay.
Comes into the say, okay, look, I want to. I've heard of this because they will hear. They're listening
absolutely.
now.
Yes, indeed.
Walk us through the process of somebody who doesn't have an account and what they have to do and how long it's going to take for you to actually, ink the deal.
Okay. So first we will ask for information. We'll ask about your source of income. So let's assume you're employed. We will ask for your documentation. We will ask for information. Before we even ask for documentation, we will engage you to understand your age, your source of income, whether you've identified a property or not, how much it's going for, and how much you're looking to borrow. We have people who don't want to borrow the full amount, right? So we'd ask how much you want to borrow.
Yes.
And once you've given us that information, then we'll come to you. You don't need to come to us. We'll come to you. So once you've given us that information, then we'll begin asking for documentation to support the information that you've given us. So we'll be asking for your 3 months pay slips. We'll ask for your 6 months bank statements. We'll ask for a letter of introduction from your employer. We'll ask for your copy of ID and copy of PIN. And if you already have identified a property, we'll ask for a letter of offer from the vendor. So that then will help us, determine your eligibility. And so within 72 hours, we shall be able to come back to you and say, CT, yes, indeed, you can get your 8 million. So, and then now we will give you a letter of offer stipulating the terms of the home loan, right? And we will ask that you sit with your lawyer.
All right.
So that, they interpret these terms to you so that you're very clear on what you're signing up for. And then you will sign and the lawyer will sign and you will bring that back to us. Once you do that, we'll give instructions to a valuer of your choice from our panel. And then they will be in touch with you. They'll say, hey, where is this property? We need to do a survey on it. And so you will give them access to the property or link them up with the seller. They will do a valuation and they will send us a report. Depending on how fast the search results are out, they can give us a report within 4 days, 4 to 5 days. Once that is done, then we will give you a list of a panel of lawyers that you will select from. And then we will issue them instruction to now start the legal process of, charging the property and transferring title from the vendor to yourself and charging it to the bank.
Okay.
So that would essentially take, depending on where the property is, so if it is the Nairobi block, it will take about 90 days. If it is the outskirts, Machakos, Kajiado, Kiambu, that would take about 60 days. Because the registry there is not as busy.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So that is, so at every step, then we are able to give you an update and say, we have received the valuation report. We are now proceeding to the lawyer. Please select from this panel who you want to work with, and then we issue them instructions to progress.
So say the windfall happens year 7, whatever, and then, you're able to pay it back completely. How long would it then take for all of those things to be settled? You've paid the remaining amounts, and we're remembering that there are no, penalties for paying in time.
Right.
How long would it take then for the property to then be, put into your name and all of that settled?
Handed over fully.
Yeah. So remember, at the point of taking the facility, the title is in your name. It's in your name, but charged to the bank.
Okay.
Right? So what happens once you settle is the bank will discharge the property from DTB to just remove, that security. So that would take about 3 to a month to discharge the property.
Okay.
And then you can pick your title. Some people opt to keep the title in the bank. In the hope that perhaps they will want to do another investment and they can use that title to get extra money.
Okay.
But if you wish to, then you can discharge and pick your title.
Okay.
Right.
So there are folks who are not in Kenya who want to take an advantage, or take the advantage rather, of getting into a mortgage agreement and diaspora living. How does this process work for them?
So same way, we will send them information on email. Some normally want to wait and come, and then we have a sit down. But some will quickly just do an email to us at mortgages@dtbafrica.com. They will ask, and then somebody will be in touch with them. So either on email, on WhatsApp, because of the time differences, on phone calls, really. So once we have asked the questions, relevant questions, they have sent the requisite documentation, we start the process, and the same follows. We update them, so they will send initially their application that need to be have been notarized. They will scan them to us so that we start the process. However, upon approval, we will ask that they send the original documents to us. So we are not insisting for you to send the original documents until at least you're sure that, okay, we are progressing. Then we'll ask that you send the original documents to us. We will also ask that you appoint a power of attorney to act on your behalf, because then you're not always in and out of the country.
Right.
So appoint somebody to act on your behalf. Yeah.
This is a relationship I'm seeing here.
Absolutely.
DTB and the client.
Absolutely.
Could be City or myself.
Right.
Or Ndu, for that matter.
I like it.
And I just want to make it as simple as possible for the listener or the viewer to understand why it's not a very good idea to default. It's not a very good idea to break or, not be very loyal to this relationship.
Right.
And as far as you're speaking, your side of the bargain is essentially stuck on family, being a good partner. So what about the other partner? Why it's not a good idea to essentially not be very honest, communicate if you ought to, if you're in a situation where you have to default, so that a stitch in time saves 9. So maybe just to, especially for the first time owners, first, why communication and instant communication will be good, and that you're available for such communication, because not every cloud that comes is a silver lining. Sometimes it's really dark.
Right.
Yeah. So how about that relationship, and when to actually reach out to avoid, distorting the relationship?
Right. So it's important that you, when you're in a position to ensure that you're up to date with your payments. One, because then it becomes very expensive. Remember, there's interest that accrues and penalty interest if you fail to pay on time. So it becomes very expensive, because then your installments then go higher unnecessarily. I mean, especially if you're in a position to pay. So it becomes very expensive for you. You end up paying more where you shouldn't, right? Now, it's also important to communicate immediately.
Okay.
You have lost your source of income, so that there's a work around it, so that you're not accruing penalty interest, and so and that your mortgage goes unpaid, right? So as soon as you communicate and we understand why you're in that situation, we're able to offer solutions that you would consider, like I mentioned earlier, so that you think about it. You're scared, you're not speaking. The bank is trying to reach out to you, you're not speaking. But guess what? You're living in anxiety.
Every day.
Imagine every knock at your door, you think the bank is here. but yet you have the option of just going as quickly as you can and engaging the bank and say, look, this is my new situation. How can you support me? Where you've been retrenched, we quickly, and we do it. We don't ask you to go and tell the insurance, for example.
All right.
The bank will do it. We will inform the insurance that Eva has this situation. Please process her retrenchment cover. Right? And we'll just come back to you and say it's been approved. It will be paid on a monthly basis for a period of 9 months. Yeah. If it is a situation where somebody has lost, the borrower has passed on, then the family will just inform us. We will ask for certain documentation. We will process with the insurance and we'll say we have been paid by the insurance. We are discharging the title. The house is yours. Right. So I think importantly is to communicate.
Right.
Let me just ask the question, because when it comes to mortgages and matters of investment, there are many skeptics. This particular program that you now have,
right?
Have people called? Have people applied? Have you approved any loans? Or are we just talking about the future?
No. The future is here. The future is here. So yes, indeed, we get numerous queries through phone calls, customers walking into the branches, through the email that I have just talked about, which I will still share at the end.
And when they call, how do they tell you they got this information?
So say, hi, hello, I heard you being mentioned on Spice FM and talking about mortgage. Please, can I get more information? Can somebody call me on this number? Where can I meet you? You know, so they actually, I mean, I get very excited when I get an email or a phone call from somebody saying, I had your product being mentioned by Spice FM. I get very excited because, look, I mean, I don't listen to radio.
Yes.
So when I get that people actually listen to radio, I get very excited.
Yeah.
So numerous queries you've asked, is this for the future? No, the future is here. So we have 600 million in pipeline. January to date,
600 million.
Right.
It's like you have approved mortgages to the tune of 600
million.
That's what you're saying.
Did I say Kenyans want to own homes? And they just don't know how to do it? Yes, it's real.
Yes.
It's real. It's not a story. See, stories are jabba. You know? People want to own homes. So when you give that solution and they see that it's real, they come. They want to see for themselves. Forget what I've had on radio.
Yeah.
Is this real?
Yeah.
And so they're coming. We have numerous queries around this.
Yeah.
Seeing is believing.
Seeing is believing.
And listening to Eva is the reality.
So some of the conventional ways are not used anymore. And we talk about accounts statements, right? Maybe not everybody has a bank account statement, but there are people who operate everything on mobile money.
Right.
So do you take that? Are those options?
We do take M-Pesa statements, and we will sit with you so that you highlight for us. Of course, we'll then separately do our own due diligence on that. Because M-Pesa, I mean, the narration is neither here nor there. So we'll need to sit with you for you to highlight for us which is the income that you've been receiving. So yes, the short answer is yes, we do consider M-Pesa statements.
Right. Okay. Why would there be and it's just going back to the diaspora, because there are a lot of folks who are from the diaspora listening and asking this particular question, is that you ask for a letter from your employer. There are folks who may not be in an office setting and would get a letter from HR, for example,
right?
But that you're working in a domestic, or you're working in a factory setting, which is it's good. There are people who bought houses, there are people who bought property and that kind of income. What kind of documentation would you get if you're working in a domestic situation, for example?
So we would ask for your work permit on the other side. If it's a domestic situation, then remember I said earlier we can look at business income.
Okay.
So that would fall in that category. So we would just be asking for your statements, really, and proof of that source of income. Right. So no, we don't lock them out. We actually have a lot of such customers from the diaspora.
Yeah, what I'm liking hearing is that you're not going to deal blanketly, and you stop me if I'm wrong. You're not going to deal blanketly with everybody, and that's why you say send us an email, come have a chat with us, because everybody's
different. You're absolutely right. You're
Yeah.
absolutely right. So we are not saying no. This is the direction we are taking, and you must stay in this lane. We are saying we understand your situation could be different from Eva's, from whoever else. So we will appraise you based on your situation. Right.
Now there's concerns and fears, and I think I keep bringing that up. Of situations that turn around. They're not expected. You do due diligence. We have the legal team. I have my attorney with me. But somehow, because we've seen a number of things happen. Private developers, what's been happening. Land grabbing, and sometimes even political affiliations come in. Some very strong powers within, and someone asking, well, depending on how much investments I want to put in, when the worst hits. Does this friendship end there? Or how does then the bank come in to, either you support and say, well, this was what we did, on your own. We can walk this journey with you in those worst circumstances that I think there are 1 or 2 cases, perhaps 1% or none at all. Are you that careful?
Where the bank is involved, we are very careful. So, which is why we do the valuation, and the valuation is just not on the the shell of the house.
Yes,
it's on the property that the house sits on as well. So we will do as such. Is it appearing on the Ndungu report, for example?
Okay.
Is this grabbed land? Is it swampy area? The valuer is able to unveil that. So if that comes up at that point, we will tell you we are unable to progress because of this. This information has come up on this property.
Okay.
We are unable to progress. We advise that you step back on it and identify another property. We've had very, very few situations where customers say, no, I'm happy to progress, I will pay in cash. So, we give you the information as it comes to us via our professionals, and then you make the decision. But as a bank, we will not progress because remember, anything can happen. The bulldozer stories, right? So anything can happen. So as a bank, we are very, very careful because remember, we are putting in money that does not belong to the bank. And we need to be able to get that money back. So we are not playing when it comes to that. We have to do due diligence.
No loopholes. Yeah. It's really refreshing to have had this conversation this morning and just, opening up and seeing then what does it really entail. And anybody can come in and have a conversation with you. And, look at, it's great because no hidden charges. We're saying no
fixed
penalty
interest
for paying early, fixed interest for the term of your loan, 105%, financing for this mortgage, and it actually could be yours. So today you can email mortgages@dtbafrica.com and get the information that you need. Eva Retemo, the head of mortgages at DTB, has been our guest this hour. Thank you for being here this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Look forward to forward conversations. Don't forget, Eva, to have your moment with Delamere.
Going for it right away. Thank you so much.